Hello, friends. I'm Dana Bristol-Smith with Leap to Success, and I'm so glad that you're joining us today for Self-Care in Stressful Times. This is our episode number 15, and the topic is decluttering your life. And we've had a huge response to this topic, so I'm so glad that so many people are with us today because you, with stress and with clutter, actually clutter can equal stress and clutter can amplify stress. So I'm really excited that we're going to give you a few strategies today to help you declutter your life. I'd like to just take a moment and tell you about Leap to Success and then introduce our team. Leap to Success is a women's empowerment organization and we're based in Carlsbad, California. Our mission is to educate and empower women who are overcoming domestic violence, homelessness, and other major challenges. And I know that many of you on our call are part of our community of support, community of care, and you provide services. You provide care and support to people who are experiencing challenges and adversities in their life, which many of us, if not all of us, are right now with this global pandemic. So I'm so glad that you're investing 30 minutes for yourself today to de-stress and declutter. I'd like to now introduce my co-host, Kelley Grimes, to welcome you. Here's Kelley.
Hi, everyone. I'm so incredibly happy that you have joined us here today. This is such a fruitful topic, and I look forward to you sharing your wisdom as well as sharing some great strategies to declutter our lives.
Thank you, Kelley. I'd now like to introduce Alyssa, who's going to give you some tips on how you can participate and how you can find past episodes of Self-Care in Stressful Times. Here's Alyssa.
Hi, everyone. So happy that you're here with us today for our 15th episode of Self-Care in Stressful Times. As Dana mentioned, we do have recorded episodes of the previous topics we've covered, and those are available on both our YouTube channel and our website, where we've compiled a self-care library for you. I will be posting links for both of those in the chat. And then speaking about the chat, we do have some interactive questions that you can choose to participate in today with our topic of decluttering your life. If you would like other attendees to see your answers, and if you'd like to interact with the other attendees, make sure you have your settings set to all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, just Dana, myself, and Kelley will be able to see your answers, which is totally fine as well if that's what you'd prefer to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. So decluttering your life. And I like to think of this as decluttering your brain, because when we're carrying around so many thoughts and so many things that we have to do and our schedules are so full, our brain is cluttered. So we're going to, in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through a guided meditation to help let go of some of those thoughts that might be swirling around in your brain. And I'd like you to think about decluttering in terms of the context of decluttering your brain, of course, but decluttering your home, decluttering your belongings. And I'm sure many of you have lately been going through your closet and getting rid of things that you no longer can wear. Also, decluttering your schedule. In this Zoom world that we're in right now, your schedule might be just overfilled and might not be giving any breaks for yourself. So this is about really letting go to bring more peace and more calm in your life. And I really love this quote from Elizabeth Gilbert. She says, "You can't do work on yourself and not do work on the space you live. And you can't do work on the space you live and not do work on yourself." And there's a great article, and it's on Marie Kondo's website. And Marie Kondo is the queen, and you're probably familiar with her from her television shows, from her books. And it's the KonMari method of tidying up your life, your house, your belongings, letting go of things that don't bring you joy. And Elizabeth Gilbert subscribes to that theory. And in fact, she actually moves from place to place to place every time she takes on a new project. So she lets go of the past and she starts something brand new in a brand new environment. To me, that sounds like a whole lot of work. I'd much rather just clean out my closet and do some other things to bring peace and calm in my life. One of the things that I do is I go for a daily walk and I look up at the sky and I take deep breaths, and that really helps to let go of thoughts and let go of things that might be weighing me down. And another thing that I do is I've recently got into watercolor painting, and I'm having so much fun painting things that are whimsical, painting things that bring a smile to my face. And that's been a great way to declutter my brain and let go. So I hope that you are finding ways to do that as well. So what I'd like to take you through right now is a guided meditation. So wherever you're sitting, go ahead, and if you'd like to close your eyes, if that will bring you calm, go ahead and do that. If not, just focus them down and start right now with feeling your feet on the ground. And take in a nice deep breath, as if you're breathing from the bottom of your feet all the way up to the top of your head. Go ahead and do that 3 times. Deep breath in and release it. Deep breath in and release it. A deep breath in and release it. Now I'd like you to bring your awareness to your legs, and I'd like you to feel the chair beneath you. Bring your awareness to the support and keep on breathing. And as I mentioned different parts of your body, as you breathe in, see if you can really be aware of how your body is supported right now. So deep breath in, feeling your legs, feeling the chair beneath you and releasing it. Next deep breath, I'd like you to feel the support that your back has right now. Breathing in and releasing it. And I'd like you to feel all the way up your spine and breathing in from the bottom of your spine, from your seat, all the way up to the top of your head and releasing it. Good. And go ahead and do that a couple more times. Deep breath in and imagine you're breathing from the bottom of your feet now, all the way up to the top of your head and releasing it. And again, and releasing it. And one more time. Deep breath in and releasing it. Now I'd like you to notice your thoughts and keep breathing that nice, deep, gentle, deep breath. But become aware of your thoughts. And identify any thoughts of concern, and you might just label them concern or planning or judgment. And on your next deep breath, I'd like you to think about one of those thoughts. And as you breathe out, I'd like you to consciously release it. Just let go. And know that any thought that you have for concern or planning or worry, you can pick it up again if you'd like a little bit later on. But for right now, you can just let it go. Just set it aside. Now I'd like you to put one hand on your belly. And as you breathe in, I'd like you to feel your belly expand. And as you breathe out, feel your belly contract, just like a balloon that's deflating. And do that a couple more times. Breathing in, inflating like a balloon, and breathing out, deflating. And go ahead and do that one more time. Breathing in. And a big exhale out through your mouth. Breathing in one more time. And then exhaling out through your mouth. Excellent. I suspect that you could be feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little less cluttered. And that's the perfect place to be right now, as you're going to learn some wonderful strategies to let go even more, to get rid of those things that are no longer serving you so that you can create space for more of what you do want in your life right now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to Kelley. Here's Kelley.
Thank you so much, Dana. That was beautiful. What an amazing tool our breath is. At any time, we can declutter our thoughts, our emotions, anything by intentionally exhaling that which doesn't serve us, and then inhaling a sense of spaciousness. It's a really beautiful practice, that and just mindfulness in general. Bringing our full attention and awareness to what's happening can just naturally help us declutter, because our mind isn't thinking of 12 things at one time. We're bringing our focus to one thing. So I want to talk about why. Why do we need to declutter? Particularly, why are we talking about this in a self-care and stressful times? Well, I think what my experience has been, and what I've heard from many, many people over the years, is that clutter actually creates more stress in our lives. And it's one of those things that has, it becomes a cycle. So whatever we're feeling inside, we tend to create in our external world. And so if we're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, we may have a lot of clutter and disorder around us. And then the disorder that we're living amongst ends up creating more anxiety and stress in our lives. And so you can see it continues this cycle, and we can feel really kind of hopeless, I think, sometimes, like where do we break that? Where do we break that cycle? And so I want to offer you some tools for that. And I want to first bring your awareness for your own experience. I've shared kind of generally what I've experienced and what others have, but what has your experience been? Have you had a sense that disorder in your outside environment impacts your internal experience of things? What have you felt? Think about a time that you've walked into a room where there was a lot of clutter. How did you feel? I would love to hear from you, to share in the chat. How did you feel in a room with a lot of clutter? So someone shared that they can't focus on the task that's in front of them when they walk into a room like that. Other people said they felt overwhelmed and with endless paperwork. Yeah, you can imagine that, right? Cluttered up on a table, and how it would be really hard to know where to start, or even to feel like you could. Other people experienced a sense of overwhelm, more anxiety, or feeling anxious. I always think it's so helpful to be in tune with how our environment impacts us. Because when we can notice for ourselves, we can make different choices. And that's so much a part of the practice of self-care and self-nurturing. It's paying attention to what our needs are, and then having tools so that we can manage that. So thank you so much. Some people said also that it feels frustrating. Yes, yes. And in these times, when there's a lot of things outside of our control, one thing I think is so amazing is that decluttering is one way that we can have a positive sense of control in a world with a lot of uncertainty and a lot of unknowns at this time. So I want to invite us into, there's a beautiful quote from Bristol-Smith, who said, "When home feels out of control, no matter what the reason, an unsettledness and an anxiety can seep in, and then the chaos becomes internal as well as external." I have to tell you, there were some fabulous quotes that I'm going to be sharing with you today around this issue of decluttering. And I love the fact that people really understand that it's a both and. It feeds itself. So oftentimes our internal state can be expressed in our external surroundings. And so if we want to have an impact, being able to, Zoe Kim said, under the influence of clutter, we may underestimate how much time we're giving away to less important things. And I know, as someone said, when you walk into a room and there's a lot of chaos, maybe there's a lot of paperwork on the table, etc., it may be harder to find things. It may be harder to know where to start. It may be, you may have a sense of kind of disorder that actually impacts your focus, your hopefulness, your sense of motivation, right? I don't know about you, but I can feel like really overwhelmed. Say there's like a whole lot of things piled around. I might not even know where to start with that. So noticing for ourselves what the impact is can help us then figure out one place that we can take an inspired step around. So what I love about decluttering is that you can have this be a whole family activity. You can do it yourself, or you can invite other people into the process of decluttering. And what's really helpful is to start small, especially if we feel overwhelmed and we feel stressed. We don't want to say, oh, I'm going to take on this whole room. You might say, I'm going to take on one area. So think of the kitchen. The kitchen is this place where we typically spend a lot of time. So choosing one area in the kitchen, maybe it's your cupboard. Maybe it's your spice cupboard. I heard from someone recently that they went through that, and just that gave them a sense of more order and less chaos in the kitchen. They could find what they were looking for when they were cooking, etc. So working on a cabinet in our kitchen, working on a cabinet or under the sink in our bathroom. So starting small. The thing that we know is it's so helpful to actually see the results of something. And when you see the results, it builds your confidence and your belief in yourself that you can keep doing it. And there's a sense of accomplishment. And when we're overwhelmed with things around us, being able to notice that it feels better is a really, really important part of the process. So as we create more clarity, we also have an opportunity to get clear about what is important. And as Marie Kondo says, what sparks joy. So much of the time we have things around us, and maybe they were gifts to us, maybe they were family members who are no longer here, maybe they were something that we got that maybe we never loved, but we have and aren't even using. Those items end up really draining energy, and not only creating more stress, but they drain our energy to then cope with the stress that we're experiencing in the world. And so what I love about decluttering is it gives us an opportunity to be discerning. That's a lot of the KonMari practice of decluttering, is really looking at each thing and saying, does this spark joy for me? Is this something that I value? Is this important to me? And if it isn't, letting it go with gratitude. And I love that, saying thank you so much, and then sharing it with others. There are so many places that you can donate things that other people would love and enjoy using. And so I think having a sense that if you're not using it any longer, that it could serve someone else can be a beautiful way to let that go. Someone just shared that letting go is hard and something necessary to do. I think this whole process of letting go, if we focus a lot on the letting go piece, that's more difficult. If we focus on what is it that brings us joy that we want to keep, what is it that we value and cherish? If we can start shifting our mindset around that, around decluttering, it can bring in the gratitude. It can bring in the appreciation for things in a way that can be motivating if it's hard to focus on what you're going to let go of. So I want to share another perspective from Emily Lay about decluttering. She says, a simplified life means that what has to get done will get done. And where we pare down life to its simplest, most beautifully basic parts, we're left with room to enjoy each other, to rest, and to truly savor life with all our hearts, minds, and spirits. And I love that. That again brings us to that point where when we have so many things around us, we may not be using them. Like we may not even know what treasures are there. I know that I recently cleared out a room and I found something that I'd written 30 years ago that was so inspiring to me that I could look back and see what was important to me then and see that so many of those things are still important to me today. I know other people, you may go through things, you may find pictures, you might find writings, you might find journals, you might find something that you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this was in all of my things. There was so much clutter, I didn't see the beauty that was there. And one thing that I have found is that beauty, whether it's out in the world or in your surroundings, does lower our stress. It does allow us to be connected in a really beautiful way to this present moment, to awe and wonder, to gratitude. So finding ways of bringing more beauty in, and so that you can see it. I had another participant recently tell me that she cleared things out and didn't have so much around. She only had a few things, but oh, they really, having that spaciousness around really allowed her eye to see the beauty that she had there. Somebody just shared that they like the idea of keeping only things that bring us joy. And I think that also can feed a sense, when we only keep the things that bring us joy, it can feed a sense that all is well in this moment. You know, so much of the time our response to fear could be holding on to things. If any of us have ever been in a place where we didn't have enough, we may have gotten into a practice of keeping things just in case we need them. And so if we really aren't using them, making some space around us can actually reinforce that we're okay in this moment and that we're going to build trust and faith and belief in ourselves. Someone just shared that they love paper shredders and full bags going out the door. So it really is energetically changes our life when we let go of those things that aren't serving us and really enjoy those things that are. So there's a couple other things. This practice of intentionally letting go, it supports us in feeling more calm. It calms our nervous system. It makes space for what we value. And all of that is a deeply nurturing practice. That is how we care for ourselves at all times, but particularly in stressful times. If we can choose one area of our house or of our home or of some place that we're spending a lot of time, release those things that we're not using and bring in a new spirit, especially in this time that some people are feeling in limbo and we're in this pandemic and challenging times. To find an area that we could make a positive impact in could have ripple effects in our life. It can allow us to feel more empowered, more confident, and have more belief in ourselves. So I want to ask you, what will you declutter? What's one area, one thing that you will declutter in the next week that you want to say out loud so that we can all hear it and affirm you? Someone shared they often have trouble finishing a task, so end up with a bit of clutter everywhere. Absolutely. So if that's the case, maybe make a commitment to yourself that you're going to get rid of those little bits of clutter in one area, just one area, and feel and see how that experience is for you. What are other areas that you want to say, I am going to declutter this week? My office. My 10-year plus power bills. Yes, there's things that we hold on to for different reasons that being able to release them would be so liberating. Someone said my inbox. Oh my goodness. Yes. Again, letting go of things so that you can see what is important. If your inbox is full, you may be missing really important things. Someone else shared that my husband and I have been working on decluttering our entire apartment. We're taking a little space at a time. What a good idea. This week will be the other half of a closet we started last weekend. And I love that idea. You don't have to take on such big spaces where you don't feel a sense of accomplishment. At this moment, Feeling a sense of accomplishment's really, really important. Someone else said they're going to reorganize their books, their Tupperware. A craft flower project's been hanging over my head, so I'm going to complete it and show the art teacher. That's great. Wherever that is for you, give yourself permission to do some breathing before. Breathe out anything that stops you from doing that. Breathe in a sense of spaciousness and belief in yourself. And then go in and just address one thing, and then give yourself credit. Acknowledge yourself. A couple other things people said, that their closet spilled out into their room. So maybe that's one area to start. Learning to deal with mail that comes in at the moment through the door instead of stashing it for later. Absolutely. So the thing about this whole thing of letting go of things that don't serve, it may be habits. If we have these habits that don't serve us, we can let go of things and then start new practices, structures, and positive supportive habits so that we have more ease in our life. I'm going to leave you with this last quote. This is from Joshua Becker, and I love this so much. The first step in crafting a life that you want is to get rid of everything you don't. So let's choose to have things in our space, in our minds, in our hearts that we want, that bring us joy, and that help guide us towards how we do want to live. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelley. That was great. As you were giving those great suggestions for decluttering, I was looking around at my desk, and I have a little project to take on this afternoon. And I love seeing all of the great projects that people are going to be taking on to declutter, to let go. And what I'd like to ask you to do as well as think about those beliefs and those thoughts that you hold, and maybe those thoughts that keep coming back over and over again, that are really taking up space. And see if there are some thoughts or beliefs that maybe they don't serve you anymore, and you can let go of them. I always like to pull a card from our dear departed friend Louise Hay, and this is from Heart Thought Cards, which are a deck of 64 affirmations. And this is not a commercial, but what I want to share with you is the card that I pulled out just a little while ago that says, I am always safe. And the back of it says, I release my emotional attachment to beliefs from the past so that they don't hurt me in the present. I am safe. And I'm going to read that again because I think it's really poignant, really powerful. I release my emotional attachment to beliefs from the past so that they do not hurt me in the present. I am safe. So you might look at any beliefs that you're holding on to. I know for a lot of us, there's a belief that, I'm not enough or I'm not worthy. And those are the kind of beliefs that really tear us down and don't support us and don't allow us to feel empowered and to make good, healthy choices in our lives. So you might take a moment and do some reflection on that and see if there's beliefs that you can let go of. I want to thank you for joining us today for Self-Care in Stressful Times, and let you know that next Tuesday, we're going to do something a little bit different. And we're going to invite a few people to join us, and we're going to have a self-care discussion with a panel. And we're going to find out what's working for people, what areas are they struggling in, and do they need support, and see what advice they might have for the rest of us. So I'm really excited to share this space and have a panel discussion next week. So please come and join us. We're also going to ask you, everybody who's on the call, what areas are you struggling with? Where do you need more support? And that will help us guide our next sessions. So thank you again for being with us, and take care, my friends. Bye-bye.